My girlfriend lied about working late. Then I saw her making out with my boss on Instagram. 2 minutes later, I forwarded the video to HR. I've always hated the fluorescent lighting in our office building. It hums, this low, nauseating buzz that sits right at the base of your skull. I used to joke that it was the sound of corporate America chewing on my soul, one expense report at a time. But that night, the hum felt different. Too clear. Too sharp. Like the universe had turned the volume up on something I wasn't supposed to hear yet. Anyway, context. I'm 32, mid-level data analyst, painfully average life, painfully average apartment, and until recently, what I thought was a pretty solid, low-drama relationship with my girlfriend, Maya. We'd been together a year and a half. Comfortable, domestic, predictable in the best way. Saturday laundry, Sunday ramen, weekday half-arguments about dishwasher loading strategy. You know, couple stuff. I genuinely believed we were good. Sure, there were little things. Small red flags waving from far away like people at the opposite end of a stadium. You see them, you register them. You decide you probably misinterpreted what you saw. She flirted too easily sometimes. Or maybe charmed, as she called it. She liked attention. She liked feeling admired. I never made a big deal of it. Her smile was the kind people want to orbit around, and it felt stupid to resent gravity. But then there were the girls' nights. I didn't mind them at first. I actually encouraged them. God knows I need my own space, and Maya was always intense. Full volume emotions, full volume presence, full volume everything. Her friends grounded her. Except her girls' nights started happening more often. Then they started ending later. Then the texts started coming. Don't wait up for me. We're grabbing food. Uber's taking forever. And then, the newest addition to her usual script. Working late, babe. It's chaos here tonight. That one stalled something in me. A tiny click, like a lock engaging. Because Maya never worked late. Her office was practically allergic to overtime. She bragged about that once, that her boss was obsessed with work-life balance and shut projects down at 5:01 p.m. Still, I let it go. I was tired that night. I'd been crunching numbers for 6 hours straight. My brain felt like warm pudding, and conflict wasn't on my agenda. I texted back. All right, be safe. No ... typing bubble appeared. She left me undelivered. Fine. I reheated some leftover pasta, opened a beer, and turned on some mindless YouTube algorithm trash. The hum of the apartment AC blended with the TV. Boring, forgettable night. At least it was supposed to be. Around 10:50, my phone buzzed. Instagram. A notification from Alyssa, one of Maya's friends. They follow each other. We follow each other. The usual interconnected social spiderweb. She'd posted a story. I wasn't expecting anything. I tapped it open without thought. What I saw pulled all the air out of me. The first frame was harmless. A sparkly filtered boomerang of some cocktails and a charcuterie board. Then a pan across a booth table. 3 girls laughing. Maya wasn't in the shot. Next frame. The camera swung, shaky and unfocused, across a dim bar. Loud music, neon lights, bodies pressed close. Then, Maya, pressed against a corner wall, hands in someone's hair, mouth on someone else's mouth. And that someone, my boss, my direct supervisor. His stupid Patagonia vest unmistakable even in the blur. His leadership retreat, haircut. The same man who earlier that day told me, don't overthink the Q3 projections, we've got time. He had my girlfriend pinned like a secret. She wasn't working late. She wasn't even pretending to hide it, not really. Her heels were off, dangling from one hand. One leg wrapped around him like she'd done this 1,000 times. My stomach didn't drop. It didn't twist. It just went quiet. Completely quiet. The buzz of that story replay button sounded like a drill in my ears. I watched it again, and every time, I felt myself pulling back from the scene, like I was standing somewhere outside of my body. Observing, not reacting. There was a second when I thought, maybe it's not him. But then Alyssa's caption appeared at the bottom of the screen. Maya, what are you doing? Loudly crying face, skull, skull, skull. Yeah, it was him. I didn't text Maya. I didn't call. I didn't message Alyssa either, though I know she eventually realized what she'd posted because the story disappeared about 10 minutes later. Instead, I stared at the blank wall across from me, the cheap paint slightly uneven under the lamplight, and felt something sliding into place in my mind. Something cold. Something steady. I opened my laptop, logged into my work email, and without letting myself think too hard, Because thinking might have slowed me down, and slowing down might have made me hesitate, I forwarded the saved Instagram story screen recording I'd made to HR. Subject line: Inappropriate relationship between supervisor and direct report. Video attached. I added a single sentence in the email body. This incident occurred tonight at approximately 10:45 p.m. No anger. No explanation. No dramatics. Just facts. Sent. Then I sat back, exhaled, and let the room settle around me like dust after an explosion. 20 minutes later, Maya texted, "Heading home soon. Exhausted. Long night." I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Because while she was crafting her usual cover story, my inbox pinged with a new incoming message. From HR. Title: Received. Setting meeting for tomorrow morning. The hum of the fluorescent lights in my memory suddenly felt quieter, calmer, almost welcoming. I shut my laptop and waited for morning. Maya came home that night at 12:14 a.m. I heard her keys in the lock, the frantic jingle of someone trying too hard to sound casual. My apartment walls are thin. Her quiet was never actually quiet. She pushed the door open and lingered in the entryway like she was waiting for applause. Or suspicion. Or both. I stayed on the couch. Lights dim. TV off. Room still. She smelled like tequila, mint gum, and someone else's cologne. "Hey," she said, stretching the word out like taffy. "You're up." "I am." That was all I gave her. She kicked off her shoes, noticed my expression, and instantly smoothed hers. She had this whole performance mode, shoulders relaxed, voice softening, eyes widening just enough to look innocent but not too innocent. I'd seen it a dozen times in arguments about stupid things, miscommunication, forgotten plans. I swear I told you. This was different, though. You could practically see the script loading behind her pupils. "Work was a mess tonight," she said, stepping deeper into the room, her tone dripping with manufactured exhaustion. "My boss totally sprung something on me last minute." I watched her. She watched me watching her. Her confidence faltered. "You okay?" she asked. "I'm fine." I wasn't fine, obviously, but not for the reason she thought. It wasn't heartbreak, not even anger, just a settling. Like a puzzle piece finally clicked and revealed the picture I'd been pretending not to see. She walked over and leaned down to kiss me. I turned my head. Her breath caught. "What's wrong?" My phone buzzed on the coffee table, a late-night Slack message from a coworker. She glanced at the screen, and I could feel the suspicion rising in her like steam. I stood up. "I'm going to bed." "That's it," she snapped. "You're acting weird." "Maybe." "What does that mean?" "It means," I said, "I'm going to bed." I left her standing in the living room, confused, insecure, and trying to rearrange the events of the night into something she could live with. I didn't know her help with that. Not anymore. The next morning, I woke up early, earlier than usual. Calm weirdly, like my brain had finally switched from emotional processing to logistics mode. HR had scheduled the meeting for 9:30 a.m. when Maya stirred beside me. She draped an arm over my chest. Automatic, familiar, and completely hollow now. "Morning," she said. "Morning." She kept studying me, searching for clues. She knew I knew something. She just didn't know what. While we were making coffee, she asked, "Can you drive me to work? My head is killing me." Her head. "Yeah, sure," I said, because why not? Let the universe have its sense of irony. She perked up a little, misinterpreting my compliance as forgiveness. Or forgetfulness. Or weakness. Hard to say. In the car, she leaned her head on the window and muttered something about hating her coworkers. Nothing about last night. No surprise there. When I pulled up in front of her building, she kissed me on the cheek and said, "Love you." "I know," I replied. Her face twitched. Then she walked inside. I parked 2 blocks away from my own office and just sat in the car for a moment, watching sunlight crawl across the dashboard. No shaking hands. No anxiety sweats. My body felt eerily measured, like a machine running diagnostics. At 9:25, I walked into the HR conference room. My boss was already there. He looked like hell. Eyes red, tie crooked, hair not fully dry from what was clearly a panic shower. When he saw me, he actually flinched. HR was composed, professional, detached. They always are, especially when they smell liability. "Thank you for coming," the HR rep said. "We received some materials from you last night regarding an inappropriate relationship." My boss tried to speak, but his voice cracked. "We reviewed the footage," HR continued. Given the circumstances and the power dynamics involved, the company is moving forward with immediate termination. My boss shot up in his chair. You don't even know the context. We watched the context, she said sharply. All of it. He turned to me with a look that was somewhere between betrayal and panic. You didn't have to do this. Yes, I said, I did. His mouth snapped shut. He was escorted out within minutes. Box, security guard, the whole corporate walk of shame. HR turned back to me. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. This will remain confidential. If you experience any retaliation, please notify us immediately. I nodded. And that was that. No vindication. No satisfaction. Just procedure. Cold and mechanical, but clean. A hard slice through a mess I didn't create. When I got home early that afternoon, Maya was sitting on the couch, clutching her phone. Her eyes were swollen. Her whole body shook with a tremor she hadn't bothered trying to hide. You got him fired, she said. Oh, so she knew already. What happened? I asked, keeping my tone neutral. She looked at me like I'd stabbed her. HR called me. They asked about our relationship timeline. They said he admitted to poor judgment. Are you kidding me? Why would you do that? I raised an eyebrow. What do you think? Her voice snapped into a higher register. It wasn't what it looked like. It was stupid and drunk and you told me you were working late. I panicked. You panicked into his mouth. Her face twisted. I didn't cheat. It was just. Don't, I said quietly. Don't disrespect both of us by lying now. She broke. Tears, full body shaking, the whole meltdown. You ruined his life, she sobbed. You didn't have to. He ruined his own life, I said. I just forwarded the evidence. A beat. You're breaking up with me, she whispered. Yes. She covered her face with her hands and let out this awful, wounded sound. Not remorse, fear. Fear of consequences. Fear of losing control. Fear of being caught. You blindsided me, she cried. You blindsided yourself. She reached for me. I stepped back. Maya, I said softly, I'm done. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. Then her phone buzzed. An email notification popped up on her screen. Urgent, final paycheck. Her breath hitched. And that's when it clicked. She hadn't just lost me. She'd lost him. She'd lost the job she used as a personality trait. She'd lost the upper hand she always assumed she had. A perfect trifecta. I grabbed my jacket. She grabbed my arm. Desperate now? Nails digging into my sleeve. Please, she whispered, don't leave. I gently pulled away. I already left, I said. You just didn't notice. Update 1. I didn't expect the aftermath to feel so logistical. Breakups are usually messy. Crying, arguing, bargaining. The post-mortem autopsy of 1,000 shared memories. But this one felt like I was packing up a crime scene. Caution tape and gloves, no sentiment allowed. The morning after everything detonated, I woke up alone in my apartment. Maya had gone back to her place after crying herself into exhaustion. She tried to stay, asked if she could sleep on the couch. Just for tonight, I can't be alone. I told her no. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. I simply told her no, and something about my tone made her recoil like she'd touched a stove. So she left, and the silence that followed was so heavy it almost felt like an apology. I took the day off work to deal with practical stuff. Always easier to handle broken pieces when there's a checklist. First task, return Maya's things. I packed her belongings into 2 medium-sized cardboard boxes. When you actually gather everything your partner owns from your space, it's startling how small they become. Shirts folded, a couple hair products, socks with cartoon avocados, a scarf I bought her last winter, toothbrush, charger, a random mug she left here weeks ago. The boxes didn't feel like heartbreak. They felt like inventory. Her spare key I left on top. I texted her. Your things are packed. You can pick them up today or tomorrow. I won't be there. She replied instantly, as if she'd been waiting with the phone in hand. Can we please talk? Please. I just want a chance to explain. There's nothing to explain, I wrote. Typing bubble. Disappear. Typing bubble. Disappear. Then, you don't understand everything. There's more to it. No, I replied. I understand exactly enough. She didn't answer after that. The HR situation at work took on a life of its own. I wasn't involved. They made that very clear. They didn't want my input or my opinion, just my original report. Everything else was handled behind closed doors. But rumors spread in an office like mold in a wet basement. Fast, quiet, and everywhere. By lunchtime, I'd overheard 3 versions of the story, all wildly inaccurate. He slept with a married intern. He punched someone at the holiday party last year, and they finally got him. Apparently, he's been harassing clients. Not one person mentioned Maya. Good. She didn't deserve public humiliation, even if she brought the consequences on herself. Still, a few people looked at me differently. Not badly. More like they were trying to solve a puzzle. Why the sudden firing? Why the emergency HR meeting? Why was I walking around so calmly, as if I'd already made peace with something irreversible? Nobody asked. Everyone sensed they shouldn't. Later that afternoon, HR emailed me again, short and formal. We have finalized our internal review. No further action is required from you. Corporate 4. We saw the video. We know exactly what happened. We're done. I closed the email and felt nothing. Not relief. Not triumph. Just completion. Like finishing an exam you studied too long for. That evening, around 6:30 p.m., Maya showed up outside my apartment. Not knocking, calling. Over and over. I didn't open the door. I didn't even stand close to it. I just answered through the speaker. Please, she said, voice already cracking. Just let me talk to you. No, you don't even know what you saw. I saw enough. It wasn't planned. I swear. I was drunk. He kissed me first. I pushed him away after, but Alyssa filmed it the worst possible. I saw your hands in his hair, Maya. Silence. Then a choked inhale. I messed up, she whispered. I know that. But you blindsided me. You didn't talk to me. You didn't give me a chance. You didn't give me one either. Long pause. She tried again. I was scared you'd break up with me if I told you. I've been insecure. And I did something stupid. But firing him? Destroying everything? How could you do that to me? To you? I repeated. Her breathing hitched. She wasn't crying now. She was panicking. I lost my job too, she said. HR said I violated workplace conduct. They said I should have reported the relationship. I didn't even. Her voice broke entirely. I don't have anything anymore. Emotion flickered in me then. Not pity. Not nostalgia. Just recognition. This is who she was. Always had been. Everything was about how things affected her. How consequences landed on her. How she felt wronged even when she'd set the fire herself. Maya, I said quietly. I don't hate you. She sucked in a breath like that might be a lifeline. But I also don't want to be with you. Like I'd flipped a switch, she spiraled again. You can't just throw us away. We've been together over a year. Don't you care? Don't you feel anything? I do, I admitted. Just not enough to stay with someone who lied to me, cheated on me, and expected me to carry the consequences for both of us. A tiny sound escaped her, something crushed and collapsing. She tried one last time, a desperate whisper. Can we at least talk in person? Please. No, I said. Not anymore. I ended the call. She stayed outside for another 10 minutes, maybe 15. I could hear her muffled sobs fading down the hall. Then silence. Later that night, after I finally exhaled the last remnants of the day, I got a text from Alyssa. We'd barely ever spoken one-on-one. Seeing her name lit up my screen like a flare in the dark. I'm so sorry, she wrote. I didn't know she was lying to you. The video wasn't supposed to go public. I deleted it as soon as she freaked out. It's fine, I replied. And it was. Not your fault. After a minute, she sent another. For what it's worth, she's been doing stuff like this for a while. Not always cheating, but lying. Hiding things. Playing people. I tried warning her she'd lose you if she kept pushing. She said she had you wrapped. Guess not. I stared at that message longer than I expected to. Then, thanks, I typed. I appreciate the honesty. She didn't respond. She didn't have to. The truth was just the truth. And it was finally out in the open. Final update. The strange thing about the end of a relationship, especially one detonated by betrayal, is that the silence afterward doesn't feel peaceful. Not at first. It feels like the aftermath of a car crash. Glass everywhere, metal twisted, everyone gone, and you just standing there, trying to figure out which parts of the wreckage belong to you. The first week was mechanical. I returned to work, tried to get back into my routines, kept my head down. People treated me carefully, like I was radioactive, but in a polite, corporate way. They didn't know anything, not really. Just that something had happened. Someone had been fired. HR was involved, and I seemed strangely unfazed. But the truth is, I wasn't unfazed. I was numb, and numbness is its own kind of damage. The messages from Maya slowed down, then stopped. After that last meltdown outside my door, she sent a handful of texts, some angry, some pleading, some confusing mixes of both. I didn't answer. Eventually, she switched to longer messages. Paragraphs of half explanations, half apologies, statements like, I know I messed up, but you didn't even try to work through it. And, I'm not the villain you're making me out to be. I recognized the tone. It was the same tone she used whenever she wanted to pretend something was mutual, shared fault, equal blame, so neither of us had to sit with the truth. I didn't respond to those either. Then she sent one more, a single sentence. I hope one day you understand that I loved you. I didn't reply, not because I hated her, but because that sentence wasn't really meant for me. It was meant for her. A way to rewrite the ending so she could live with it. A way to make her betrayal sound less like a choice and more like an accident. I didn't know her participation in that version, so I let it go unanswered. The practical fallout was simple. She picked up her boxes when I wasn't home. She left my key in the mailbox. I changed the apartment lock anyway, not out of hostility, but because it felt like drawing a new boundary, physical and emotional. The apartment felt bigger without her things. Quieter. Colder too, at first. Even the empty side of the couch bothered me for a few days, like a phantom limb acting up. But then something shifted. The silence stopped feeling like an absence. It started feeling like space. A week later, HR called me in for a final follow-up. They just wanted to confirm that there'd been no retaliation, no contact from my former supervisor, nothing impacting my work performance. The HR rep asked gently, "Has this been difficult for you?" I surprised myself by answering honestly. I'm sad it ended the way it did, but I'm relieved I don't have to keep pretending things were fine. She nodded, genuinely, not performatively, and said, "That's a very grounded way to see it." Grounded. I wasn't sure I'd earned that word, but it stuck with me. A couple days after that, Alyssa texted again. Short message. She moved back in with her sister for now. She's not doing great. Thought you should know, not to make you feel guilty, just because you deserve to know the truth, too. I stared at it a long time. There used to be a version of me who would have rushed to check on Maya, or worried, or felt responsible. But that version of me had been holding up both sides of our relationship for months without realizing it. And he deserved a break. I typed back. I hope she gets the help she needs. But I can't be part of that. Alyssa wrote, I get it. And I think she really did. The strange part, the part one didn't expect, is how grief and anger come in waves long after the crisis ends. Some nights I'd be fine. Cooking, working, walking, existing. Other nights I'd remember something small. The way Maya tucked her knee under my thigh when we watched movies, or how she'd whispered, "Don't leave yet," when I tried to get up from bed. And for a moment, I'd feel the ghost of what we could have been. But then the other memories came. The lies. The half-truths. The evenings she stayed late. The nights she checked her phone too quickly. The hollow explanations. The story she would have let me believe if Alyssa hadn't accidentally shown me the truth. And that grief turned into something steadier, quieter. Clarity. The kind that doesn't feel heroic or triumphant. Just necessary. The biggest shift came last weekend. I met a friend for coffee. One of those friends who knows how to sit in silence without making it awkward. We talked about nothing important until eventually he asked, "Do you think you'll date again soon?" I didn't laugh, but I came close. "I don't know," I said. "I'm not ready. But maybe that's okay." He nodded. "Give yourself time." The thing is, I am giving myself time. Not out of fear, but out of respect. I want to be more deliberate with myself now. I want to understand why I ignored the red flags I saw, why I softened truths that hurt, why I bent myself into accommodating someone who saw boundaries as suggestions. Not to blame myself, but to grow. Because if I walk into my next relationship as the same person I was before this happened, then all of this would have been pointless. And it wasn't pointless. Pain rarely is. It teaches. It carves you open so you can rebuild parts you never noticed were weak. So here's where I've landed. No bitterness. No revenge fantasies. No desire to gloat. No hope for reconciliation. And no illusion that heartbreak is supposed to feel meaningful. Just a quiet understanding that sometimes people choose the worst version of themselves, and you get hit by the shrapnel. And sometimes the only healthy response is to step out of the blast zone. I'm taking long walks now. Eating better. Cleaning more. Sleeping more. My apartment doesn't feel haunted anymore. My chest doesn't feel tight when I wake up. I'm not happy. Not yet. But I'm steady. And that's enough for now. Someday. Maybe. I'll look back on this as the moment my life reoriented, not because of the betrayal, but because of the boundary I set afterward. The day I realized that leaving isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's simply the first honest thing you've done for yourself in a long time.